So I'm going to ask those same 4 questions that we talked about last time. And again, the idea is by asking those same questions, I'm asking them, you're asking them yourself as you are planning your lessons around materials, around directions, engagement, how are we keeping kids with us and how do we know they're with us, and then the timestamps throughout. So I have the teacher edition, student version, and the slides that you shared with me. You have the same things open?
Yep, I'm good.
Great. So let's start with that opening classwork, and we'll get through probably a couple of your slides, but we're really thinking a lot of detail so that you're kind of training your brain to think this way about your lesson. So let's start with material. So this first slide is open in front of kids. First of all, how are they seeing it? Are you screen sharing? Is it how are they seeing it?
Well, I may add a direction slide ahead of this in my materials, which is like the movement from the do now into the opening exercise. And I was going to just screen share and have that in my slide deck. So they're looking at shared screen, my Chrome, my Google slide deck for my materials. They've got out their workbook.
Are you gonna have them get their workbook out before this slide comes up?
I think no, because they don't need it for their do now, and I want to get them started on the do now right away because that's been helping get more momentum.
So you're clicking to this slide, and then that's where you're giving the direction about the workbook.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. So let's get to that. So how are you going to know that they have their workbook out and that they're in the right place?
Maybe it's just a 10-second countdown. So we're going to be working out of S1 in your student workbook. I know you got it nearby. Take 10 seconds, get that out, and when you have it, hold it and show it in front of the screen. I want to be clear that it's S1, so hold it close enough that I can see it.
Great. I love the specificity. Not just hold up your book, hold it up after you've turned to that page. Now you know everybody's on the same page. You're creating engagement from the very beginning by showing that you care about those details and you're looking to actually see those things. So that's great. So they have their workbook, they have their pencil, they've opened to that page, and then tell me, you're sharing your screen for this slide. How long are they gonna have on this activity?
The lesson plan, the teacher guide says 5 minutes.
Does that cover that debrief part is really important in this. So does that cover the debrief too?
Yes. So, right. So they'll work for 3 minutes. I'll release them for 3 minutes to work on either A or B. And then the last 2 minutes will be whole group debrief.
All right.
And I'm assuming I will have to also have like a model ready for them to show them at the back end.
I'm going to put a note here on this slide that we're sharing that just says timer, so that you can add a 3-minute timer. That will be a good way for them to keep track of that. There are 2 groups here. How are they going to know if they're working on A or B?
That's a good question. They don't need breakout rooms, so they're not going to like work with their partner here. So I'll just do first. If your first name starts with A through M, because it doesn't need to be exactly half. So first name A through M, you're working on A. First name N through Z, you're working on B.
Great. And can you add a little check for understanding? That would be another easy way to get engagement. Like they can show you that they know something. They know which one they're on. That shows that these details again matter to you, and you're checking for them.
So like call on some kids and ask them which one they're working on?
Yeah, max 2 or 3 kids really quick. Tyreek, A or B? Jonathan, A or B? Sierra, A or B? Awesome.
Okay. That was so I make sure that generally it's a check for understanding on the directions.
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
All right, and then they get started in their workbook. How are you going to see their work? Because that, again, is that key. They need to know that you're seeing the work that they're doing, that you care about the work that they're doing.
Well, I'm going to call on some kids after 3 minutes. So at that point, they might hold up, like, all right, let's look at A1. Even if you're in group B, everyone's looking at A1 here.
One thing that we definitely want to see their work after, because they need to be able to compare the A and the B. But for the purpose of ensuring that kids are really engaged with it, and also so that you know if they're on the right track, that 3 minutes is actually a really long time, right? So 30 seconds in, a minute in, you might do kind of like a staggered check. So you might do like, all right, if you are an A and you have finished number one, give me a thumbs up. If that's most of your kids, great, hold it up for me and a quick scan, just A, right? B is still working. 30 seconds later, same thing would be. If you're in group B, you should have number one down by now. Hold it up for me so I can see it. Hold it right there. Great job, Derek. Great job, Shatanya. Cool, put it down, keep working. 30 seconds in, yeah. So I see you noting that down. Good call.
Yeah. 1 minute in, hold and show, group A.
Yep.
Is that the idea?
That's perfect. Yep.
I can do that.
And then how are you going to show them? So once they've done A, they've done B, they need to see them side by side. This is a materials question again. How they're working on their workbook. How are they going to see side by side A and B?
That's what I was saying earlier. I will prep. I will probably prep 3A and 3B and move to my doc cam, just so that I don't get too bogged down here, and like I just have it ready to go, and I can move them there and start asking the debrief questions with them looking at my examples that I've prepped.
So you've seen them along the way with that hold and show. I think we add a hold and show for number 3 also for each group, for everybody, so that you can make sure that they did it. There's a sense of accountability, like all of these matter, especially because you're now going to come in with your own version of it. So like mine looks similar. Here we go. So when you switch out to the doc cam, where are they looking now? Are they looking at your Zoom window? Or are they looking at your the slides?
They're looking at. Well, I'm going to share my screen again. So they're looking at their Zoom, my shared screen on their Zoom.
Okay. Can they close out the slides now, or are they going to need to come back to those slides?
That's a good question. They're going to come back to them because I've got more examples in there.
Is it worth asking them to minimize their slides, or you just want to keep the split screen as it is and they look at your Zoom window?
Yeah, I don't want to get into that. Like I just
that makes sense. So let's do that direction really quick. So what are you going to say to them at that moment? You're saying, everyone show, great job. You guys worked really hard on this. I did an example too. And then what?
I did an example 2. I want you to workbooks flat on your desk. Your eyes are going to look right into your Zoom window. I'm going to show you my examples. And when you're looking at my examples, I want you thinking about. And while I'm saying the question that I want them thinking about, hopefully that's giving me time to change my screen share from my Google Chrome to my document.
Quick trick for you too. You can see the little caret next to stop video on your Zoom. When you click that, you can change your camera setting. So if you have your doc cam plugged in, you can just change to your face will change to your doc cam. That, again, engagement purposes, we want to see kids as much as we can. It's really important that we're seeing their faces. That way you're still seeing your whole gallery view, and you can just spotlight yourself. They'll see your doc cam, and you can still see your full gallery view. So make a note of that.
So it's just change video output instead of like start new share.
Exactly. Because when you're sharing, you're not seeing as many kids. And they, again, like you want them to know, here's what I'm doing, here's what I'm accountable for, here's what Mr. Hammond is seeing me do, and that you're seeing their work and their engagement along the way. So we're always asking ourselves about materials, not just what do they have, but how do I know what they have? Because that's a little bit harder in this world. Where should they be looking? What should they be seeing on their screen? What am I seeing on my screen? We're always asking ourselves about engagement. What are kids thinking right now? What are they doing right now? And how do I know? We're always asking ourselves about timestamps and get really specific. It's not just, this is a 5-minute task. Can we break it down even more than that? I like how you broke down your timestamps on when you're going to actually do the hold and show, how far into the process. And then directions. What am I actually going to say? What are the exact words? Because the clarity matters so much in this context, really in any classroom context, but especially now.